Wasn't just not paying his fair share. He apparently, throughout the entire Trump presidency, wasn't paying anything. Welcome to the Friday edition of the Dan O'Donnell Show. I have got to hand it to Hunter Biden. He came up with a unique way of resisting the Trump administration. Remember when Trump was inaugurated, the resist movement was born. Well, Hunter was doing his own small part to defund the Trump government. It was a form of resistance. You see, for those unfamiliar with the news breaking late last night, Hunter Biden indicted on 9 federal tax charges in California. We will, of course, get to that in just a second. But first, if you would like to join the Dan O'Donnell Show, our phone lines are always open. The AdventNows.com talk and text line is 414-799-1130, 1-800-838-9476. Email me, DOD@iHeartMedia.com. This weekend, a perfect opportunity to email me your child's or grandchild's performance for the 2023 Dan O'Donnell Show Family Christmas Special, which, believe it or not, premieres 2 weeks from today. At this exact moment, 9:06, Friday morning, December 22nd. It'll then air throughout Christmas weekend, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. Your child on the radio singing a Christmas song, playing a musical instrument. All you need to do is email a video or audio clip of their performance to DOD@iHeartMedia.com, and that's it. They're in. You can watch the show streaming live on Twitter/X @Dan O'Donnell Show, Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show as well, and YouTube.com/Dan O'Donnell Show as well. Talk about clips that aged remarkably poorly. Interview with President Biden, May 6th. Stephanie Ruhle asking him, "Are you confident, sir, that your son did nothing wrong?"
Sir, there is something personal that's affecting you. Your son, while there's no ties to you, could be charged by your Department of Justice. How will that impact your presidency?
First of all, my son's done nothing wrong. I trust him. I have faith in him. And it impacts my presidency by making me feel proud of him.
You see, at its heart, what this case has always been about, always, hasn't been about tax evasion. It hasn't been about hookers and drugs and adult porn stars and that sort of thing. It hasn't been about bribery. It hasn't been about influence peddling. It hasn't been about one of the biggest presidential scandals in history that the media has been turning a blind eye to for the better part of 4 years now. No. No, 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 no. It has always been about a father's love for his son. Just ask David Axelrod on Anderson Cooper 360 shortly after the news of the charges broke last night.
I think, Anderson, the most significant impact is not on the president as a candidate or as president. It's as a father. These are burdens on a family.
Yes, and who among us has not dealt with the burdens of drug addiction, of alcoholism, of international bribery schemes? I know every family is dealing with something similar. You see the warning signs. First, they stop showing up to work. They rarely leave their apartment. They start getting $1 million payments from Ukrainian energy giants. Every family can relate to this. It is America's burden, really. I know it impacted my family. Someone I love very much. All of a sudden, we just noticed changes in him. He was flying on Air Force Two to meet with his business associates along with the vice president. I mean, who among us has not gotten money to the Chinese and then wrote about all of us having to give 10% to the big guy? I mean, that's how I could tell. My loved one was really in the depths of depression and drug addiction. And he kept writing about having to hold 10 for the big guy. In fact, he was so distraught that he complained to his daughter, another dear loved one of mine, that he had to give Pop half his salary. This is just what drug addicts do. You see, they're blowing all of their money on drugs, on alcohol, on women of the evening because they're so desperate for companionship. And then they give half of their money to their father because their father is the head of the influence peddling scheme. Tale as old as time, really. And this speaks far more to America's addiction problem, according to David Axelrod, than it does about rather obvious corruption. Some of the highlights from the 56-page indictment. Instead of paying his taxes, Hunter spent $683,000 on, quote, various women. He spent $397,000 on clothing and accessories. He spent $188,000 on adult entertainment. Now, these were from the years 2016 to 2019. And as I'm reading through the indictment last night, just one thing I couldn't escape. This thought kept popping up. $680,000 on various women. $397,000 on clothing and accessories. $188,000 on adult entertainment. It's more than $1 million. But could you imagine how much he would be paying today after the inflation his father caused took hold? I mean, my goodness. Thank God for Hunter Biden being fiscally prudent and investing in prostitutes, clothing and accessories, and pornography before his father wrecked the United States economy. Now, the two people that we do really have to thank for this are Gary Shapley and Joseph Ziegler. Do you remember those names? They're the IRS whistleblowers who alleged and provided concrete evidence that Special Prosecutor David Weiss was not just slow-walking the investigation, as was a common complaint from congressional Republicans, that the special prosecutor named to look over this and investigate Hunter Biden's wrongdoing was just taking his sweet time filing charges. It wasn't just that. It was that there was an active effort to stonewall those same IRS agents, that this was, in fact, an effort to shield Hunter from accountability coming from the highest levels of the Biden Justice Department. You might remember, Hunter's attorneys were so arrogant that they go before a judge and basically gripe about one of the most sweetheart of sweetheart plea deals I think I've ever seen. It was a no jail plea agreement on two tiny little misdemeanors that even Weiss's own attorneys, when faced with the most basic of questions about how this deal was reached, they had no answers. And finally, the judge said, hey, wait a minute. Those two IRS whistleblowers helped everyone sort of piece together what was actually going on. And it was exactly what you thought was going on. The Biden Justice Department colluding, essentially, with Hunter's attorneys in order to get Hunter Biden off the hook. And even with these tax evasion charges, the most serious charges, bribery, influence peddling, failing to register as a foreign agent, that to me is the obvious charge. I mean, they've got Biden dead to rights on this, the younger Biden. But of course, there can be nothing that ties the elder Biden, the president, to this. And as we'll see coming up a little bit later on in the show, the media this morning, in reporting to its audiences, makes it clear Joe Biden not even mentioned in this, because the charges that would have implicated Joe were not filed. How about the income that Hunter wasn't reporting related to his work for Burisma Holdings? Statute of limitations on that was allowed to run in November of 22. This was deliberate. Nobody wants anything to do with Burisma because that is the clearest example of Joe Biden's corruption and his implication in Hunter Biden's schemes. Now, you might remember that in 2014, Hunter Biden agreed to join Burisma's board, the Ukrainian energy giant, at $1 million a year. In the indictment, by March 2017, it's noted that Burisma reduced Hunter's compensation to $500,000 a year. What happened 2 months earlier in January of 2017 that might be a significant cause of Hunter Biden's reduction in salary? You got a 50% pay cut. Why? What happened? Let's go a little bit more specific. On January 20th, 2017, that might have dramatically reduced his value to Burisma Holdings. Rather obviously, his father was no longer vice president. Now, you might remember also the heavily censored FBI document in which a top FBI informant has a conversation. He's an undercover agent, and he is able to get in with Burisma. And they, of course, have been investigating Burisma for international corruption for a long, long time. Nikolai Zlochevsky, the CEO of Burisma, told this informant that he put Hunter on the Burisma board, even though he correctly surmises that he's a moron, in order to curry favor with Joe. He's explicit about that. And remember, he laughs when he sees or hears the number 5. Do you remember this? Why does he laugh? He said, 5. I just paid 5 to one Biden and 10 to another. No, excuse me, 5 to one Biden and 5 to another. He claims to have paid, and this would be someone with obviously direct knowledge of Joe Biden's involvement, who says to an FBI undercover agent, I paid 5 to one Biden and 5 to another, meaning $5 million to Hunter Biden, which we know. He was getting $5 million for his work on the Burisma board. And then Zlochevsky tells this undercover agent, I paid 5 more to Joe. That is what we call direct evidence. It's not circumstantial. This is a witness with firsthand knowledge of the crime saying, yes, I committed this crime by paying a bribe to the then Vice President of the United States. Of course, Weiss wants nothing to do with anything having to do with Burisma, because that would raise very uncomfortable questions about Joe Biden's involvement. And as we'll see in just a second, the media is doing its level best to convince you that Joe Biden has nothing to do with his son's corruption.
Honey, you're dusting again?
I can't keep up. It's crazy.
I don't want you to have to do that.
I hate it so much.
We need to call Capital.
What do? They
clean your ducts with high-powered trucks.
That cuts the dust?
Cuts the dust.
Because our air is only going to get worse?
Now that our windows are closed for the season, yeah.
And the holidays are coming?
We don't want everybody sneezing all over the place. I'll call them.
Already got it.
Oh.
Yeah, Capital, please save us.
Our duct cleaning technicians are standing by
to get you ready for the holidays
and save you time and trouble. And kerosene. That's right. Cut the dust
and breathe cleaner air.
Capital does over 1,000 duct cleanings every year.
Yeah, now's the perfect time to get your ducts clean
before Capital's holiday rush starts.
Let Capital Heating, Cooling, and Electric save your holidays and clean your ducts today. Schedule online at callcapitalcares.com.
Want a deal? Get a free Moto 5G phone when you sign up for Pure Talk's unlimited talk, unlimited text, and 15 gig data plan for just $35 a month. Dial pound 250. Say the keyword save now to get this exclusive offer and to select the plan that's right for you and your family. Pure Talk gives you America's most dependable 5G network at half the price. Dial pound 250. Say the keyword save now to claim your free Moto G 5G phone with a qualifying plan. Pure Talk, simply smarter wireless.
We asked people why they sold their homes to Grandview Homes instead of using a real estate agent.
Everything they say in their ads is true and then some. A very fair price, no real estate agent fees or closing costs. They even switched the utilities out of your name.
Within weeks, we had closed and couldn't be happier.
Whether you have a hard-to-sell home, want a stress-free sale, or simply need to sell your home fast, Grandview Homes is the name you know and the name you can trust. Visit GrandviewHomes.com to discover the easiest and fastest way to sell a home.
Looking for top-notch personal protection? The Smith & Wesson Equalizer is here to level the playing field. Easy to rack slide, easy to control ergonomic grip. It's designed for you. With a 10, 13, and 15-round magazine included, size up for better control or size down for easier concealment. Don't miss out on the opportunity to upgrade your safety. Visit your local dealer now. To learn more about the Equalizer, visit smith-wesson.com. Smith & Wesson, empowering Americans. All capacity sizes may not be available in your jurisdiction. Be sure to check your local laws and regulations.
Hello, I'm Joseph, owner of EWH University, where we help small businesses grow. Tune into WISN every Sunday at 11 a.m. and visit EWHUniversity.com to learn more. That's EWHUniversity.com.
Join News Talk 1130 this Saturday at 4 p.m. for The Word on Medicine, the show that brings you the latest medical innovations and discoveries by physicians and scientists at the Medical College of Wisconsin. That's Saturday afternoon at 4 on News Talk 1130, WISN.
Men's wedding bands made from whiskey barrels and meteorites.
Welcome to Kessler's.
Christmas. You are listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. It is remarkable how unable the national media is to connect the dots between Joe Biden and Hunter Biden. No, I'm just kidding. They are willfully refusing to connect the dots between Joe Biden and Hunter Biden as CNN opened its coverage on, what is it, CNN This Morning, whatever their morning show is with Poppy Montgomery.
Now, Hunter Biden is not President Joe Biden, and there is no allegation in the 56-page indictment that the president did anything wrong. He's not even mentioned, but that is not stopping House Republicans from making Hunter Biden's business dealings a basis for their impeachment inquiry.
Yes. Those Republicans, they're so focused on Hunter Biden. Now, of course, if this were Donald Trump Jr., I don't even need to tell you, Poppy Montgomery wouldn't even be able to speak because her head would have exploded with just sheer glee. Imagine the most excited kid on Christmas morning and then multiply it by about 5 and you get Poppy Montgomery's reaction. Just look at, let's talk about Jared Kushner and all the money he got from Saudi Arabia. Was there anything illegal about that? Was there any suggestion Donald Trump was getting kickbacks? Were there direct payments to Donald Trump? Oh, but don't worry. The media told us that the payments that were coming from Hunter Biden's business accounts to Joe was to pay back a Ford Raptor. You see, it was a car payment that just sort of stopped randomly coming from a business account controlled by Hunter Biden. So CNN intros this. This is the framing. Joe Biden did nothing wrong, okay? They bring on Dana Bash, CNN reporter and legal analyst.
This is about the son of a president, the son and the now president, when this happened, weren't even, the President Biden wasn't even in office at the time.
You see, she's getting even tongue-tied trying to spin. She was so dizzy trying to spin this, she couldn't even get the words out. So then, in order to get some of CNN's dumber viewers to understand what's going on here, they go to reporter Ellie Honig at the video board to literally spell this out, that Joe Biden had no involvement.
No mention of Joe Biden, no reference to Joe Biden in the indictment. James Comer, of course, is seizing on this, and he says that Hunter Biden's corporate entities implicated by today's indictments funneled foreign cash that landed in Joe Biden's bank account. A little bit of sleight of hand happening here, though, because Comer's focused on the payments, the $7 million that Hunter Biden received, but that's not the crime. The indictment makes clear there is no charge. There could have been a charge of bribery if there was bribery. There could have been a charge of foreign lobbying if that was the case. There is no such charge. The crime here is the tax part of that.
Yes. Why do you suppose, Mr. Honig, that the Biden Justice Department declined to bring charges against Hunter Biden that might implicate Joe Biden, i.e. bribery. Who's bribing Hunter Biden if his father's not the vice president of the United States? And then in the intervening period, it becomes clear that Biden is going to be the front runner for president of the United States. Now he's president. And what do you know? Big money Democrat donors are paying hundreds of thousands of dollars for Hunter Biden original paintings, something that just gets started. Who knew Hunter Biden was such a talented artist? Weirdly, he starts his painting at about the same time his father is elected president. Wow, so weird. The White House won't let us see who exactly is buying Hunter's payments or paintings. Who's making payments to Hunter that his father has nothing to do with? It is remarkable how uncurious these people are, isn't it? Let's go over to MSNBC. Willie Geist, Jonathan Lemire.
There'll be a conflation here by Republicans. See, Hunter Biden committed crimes, Joe Biden, the Biden crime family, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But again, there has not been, that link has not been drawn yet.
No, it hasn't. There's yet to be any evidence that President Biden had anything to do with the criminal charges his son now faces.
Except, of course, for the FBI's own document saying the CEO of Burisma Holdings told a top, very trusted FBI informant that he paid $5 million in bribes directly to Joe Biden. That is direct. That's about as direct evidence as it gets. It's remarkable how quickly that FBI document was forgotten, right? Do you realize the FBI fought tooth and nail, even though a redacted version of that document would not reveal sources and methods? In other words, there was no reason to keep it hidden, but the FBI fought for years to keep that document hidden. Why? Because as we established on the show earlier this week, there is forbidden knowledge in this country. That forbidden knowledge is that, a la Richard Nixon, the president is a crook. Nixon very famously said the American people would like to know whether their president is a crook. 50 years later, we still would, but we're not allowed to know. This is the forbidden knowledge. And as for Biden himself having no tie to corruption with these current charges, why were these current charges brought in the first place? Because the Biden Justice Department, as alleged by two credible whistleblowers, including one, Joseph Ziegler, a registered Democrat, Biden's Justice Department almost certainly, on orders from Biden himself or someone very close to him, was actively interfering in the special counsel's investigation. This is corrupt on its face as well. Gary Shapley also has, according to his testimony, voted for Democrats and Republicans. He oversaw the IRS's tax investigation into Hunter Biden. If there was a political bias on his part, do you think his superiors at the IRS, all of whom are almost certainly Democrats? How do I know this? Well, because 90% of federal employees are Democrats. I'm just playing the odds here. Do you think they put Gary Shapley in charge if Gary Shapley's a rabid partisan who hates Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and tries to take him down? Of course not. Shapley testified that it wasn't Weiss, David Weiss, the special prosecutor who is actually in charge of the investigation, but rather Matthew Graves. Now, why is this relevant? Matthew Graves' wife, Fatima Goss Graves, is a key Biden ally. She is the head of the National Women's Law Center and has partnered with the Biden administration on a number of different initiatives. She's met with Biden at the White House, according to White House logs, at least 28 times. Now, if that name sounds familiar, we were just talking about Fatima Goss Graves earlier this week. She testified, remember, she's the head of the National Women's Law Center, that she has no idea how you define a woman.
Genetic composition of a transgender versus a woman the same? No.
Well, I'm not a scientist. But
well, we're talking about science here, so I mean, I hope they're not the same. So that's why you see all these physiological differences.
If I can answer, though, I mean, if your question is how do you define woman, a woman is an adult female, but there's a lot of variation that goes beyond my level of high school
Well, I just got to
biology.
tell you,
and
you
so-
can't. I'm not looking at a definition. I'm talking about the science. The science genetically is a man is different genetics than women. Plain and simple. That's just what it is.
I guess what I would say is that I'm not a scientist or a doctor, but it's my understanding that it is more complex than what you are saying.
Yeah, it's real complex how you define a man versus a woman. Is there any real surprise that the Biden administration would rather have this liberal hack's husband in charge of the investigation into the president's son than the duly appointed special counsel, who himself tried to get a sweetheart plea deal for Hunter Biden, which Hunter's attorneys arrogantly and stupidly got before a judge and tried to get reduced even further, causing the judge herself to say, hey, wait a minute. This does not seem right. The idea that Joe Biden is just some idle observer. He's just a concerned father, according to David Axelrod. This is about a father's love for his son is ludicrous. There has been an active cover-up and attempts by the White House for political and personal purposes to interfere with the criminal investigation into the president's son. That in and of itself is corrupt, but making matters far worse is the fact that the tax evasion stems from illicit payments to Hunter Biden, which we have ample evidence in the form of bank transfers, in the form of firsthand testimony, were bribe payments designed to get to, ultimately, President Biden himself.
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, owner of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services and host of the Designer Yard Show. Another landscaping season is in the books, and what a great season it was. I started Seasonal Services 30 years ago, and I enjoy every day. Yes, some days are tough, but we've persevered because of many special people. The Christmas season is a great time to share our appreciation of others. So let me start by thanking our suppliers, clients, and the many builders who trust us with their valued clients. And to those of you who love gardening and nature as much as we do, thanks for listening to the Designer Yard Show every Saturday. Finally, thanks to the entire Seasonal Services team. You arrive early and you go home late. You give your all every day on the hottest days of summer and the coldest days of winter. You appreciate that hard work is rewarding, and for that I give you my admiration and thanks. So on behalf of all of us at Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services, best wishes for 2024.
Hello, commercial customers. This is Michael Lynch from Lynch Truck Center, and it's end of the year tax planning season. We've continued to work hard sourcing over 400 of the best GM, Hino, and Isuzu commercial trucks from all over the country. Most are ready to go, and some are ready for your custom upfit. The best part? All of our trucks qualify for the Section 179 tax deduction for 2023. Now, I know you're busy running your business, but we've made it easy. Go to lynchtruckcenter.com, select your truck, and click on the green button on each truck page to instantly see potential tax savings. For example, if you buy a $50,000 truck at a 22% tax rate, you'll get $11,000 in potential tax savings. You can deduct 100% of the purchase price from your 2023 taxes. Essentially, the truck will only cost you $39,000. Remember, we are in the truck business, not accountants. So, be sure to verify these tax savings with your tax professional. Visit lynchtruckcenter.com today. We won't disappoint you.
It is This Week with Annex Wealth Management. Dan O'Donnell alongside the president and CEO of Annex, Dave Spano. Last month, the 7th best month ever for the S&P 500. The markets keep going up, Dave, but still there are concerns.
Yeah, there's no question. Yeah, the 7th best month ever and the best month in 3 years. The Dow closes at a 52-week high, so there's no doubt that tech has been a big part of that. The tech index alone up more than 40% for the year. But of course, there are things to worry about. You look at, for example, home sales are down. Beige Book numbers were down across half of the industries. news. You can see vehicle sales are down. And of course, there's no question there's geopolitical risk around the world and may even be accelerating. So you take a look at that and say, what is the Fed going to do as we go into 2024? They are signaling that they could have 3 or 4 rate cuts in 2024 right before the election. So this is going to be an interesting conversation as we get into the next year and up to the election. We still are advocating for a well-diversified portfolio. You don't want to get over your skis because of this performance was led by the Magnificent 7 big stocks. And so go through your portfolio. I say this all the time. Know what you own and why you own it. Why is it in your portfolio? And get advice from a fee-only fiduciary that gives you comprehensive planning.
Yeah, you really do need to understand in periods of uncertainty and with the Fed poised to act and act in a big way, believe it or not, we are in one. And add to that the upcoming election and global issues to boot. You really do need to head to annexwealth.com to get that free portfolio review. For Dave Spano, I'm Dan O'Donnell. Thanks for listening to This Week with Annex Wealth Management.
This holiday season, spend more time with your loved ones and less time in the kitchen. At Sendix, we offer full traditional holiday dinners or just the sides, all homemade in store, then packed in reheatable containers. Choose from a wide selection of gourmet appetizers and signature trays too. Spend less time working and more time with family this holiday season. Reserve your meal at Sendix.com/holiday. From our family to yours, have a happy and healthy holiday. Sendix Food Markets, your trusted local grocer.
With the holidays upon us, the increase in traveling, shopping, and connecting online also heightens the need to protect your identity and finances with LifeLock. Identity thieves see this time of year as an opportunity to drain your accounts, open new loans in your name, and damage your financial future. LifeLock detects and alerts you to the threats you might miss on your own. Don't let the busy holiday season catch you off guard. Save up to 25% off your first year with promo code CLAY. LifeLock.com, promo code CLAY.
Josh from Infinity here. The roofing and exterior modeling industry is notorious for painful surprise hidden costs.
MJ here. We built Infinity with integrity, installing roof, siding, windows, and peace of mind.
Infinity's custom app eliminates costly, unpleasant roofing and exterior modeling upcharges, showing in absolute transparency every detail of your project.
We pay less, you pay less.
Infinity provides multiple budget options, including financing immediately.
Warranted, guaranteed quality, installing peace of mind. InfinityRoofing.com.
Looking for top-notch personal protection? The Smith & Wesson Equalizer is here to level the playing field. Easy to rack slide, easy to control ergonomic grip. It's designed for you. With a 10, 13, and 15-round magazine included, size up for better control or size down for easier concealment. Don't miss out on the opportunity to upgrade your safety. Visit your local dealer now. To learn more about the Equalizer, visit smith-wesson.com. Smith & Wesson, empowering Americans. All capacity sizes may not be available in your jurisdiction. Be sure to check your local laws and regulations.
Opinion, emotion, passion. This is News Talk 1130 WISN. Merry Christmas from the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Number of listeners all texting in the exact same question on the adventknows.com talk and text line. So what do you think is going to happen? A number of astute listeners are also questioning, why are the Hunter Biden charges dropping now? Why now? Why yesterday, December 7th, 2023? Why not say next year? Well, I think the reason for that is obvious. Now, there are two schools of thought. Do I think Hunter Biden is going to serve any prison time? Absolutely not. Is Joe Biden going to pardon his son if it comes to that? Of course. I mean, there's no question about that. This is a man who loves his son. And ultimately, isn't that the best thing you can say about Joe Biden? He's a loving father. He cares about his children. All of them. Even the ne'er-do-wells. Even the ones who died in combat in Iraq, but not really. Biden is going to ensure, as he has every step of the way, or more accurately, because I don't think Biden actually calls any of the shots in his own administration, the people closest to him are going to ensure that Hunter does not face any serious consequences. And the way I read this indictment is that this case was charged in such a way as to fastidiously avoid charging anything that could be brought back to Joe, precisely because they want the media narrative to be exactly what it was this morning. Joe Biden is not mentioned. So this could go one of two ways. Now, there's one school of thought amongst conservatives that these charges are only being brought because the institutional left has decided it's time to dump Joe in favor of Gavin Newsom and that he's not going to be the nominee. The polling is too disastrous, and this is designed to put pressure on Joe to step aside. Hey, Joe, if you don't announce that you're not going to run for a second term, if you don't bow out for Gavin Newsom, your son's going to prison. That's one school of thought. I happen to think it's the other. Think about the timing here. Just think about the timing. These charges were brought in 2023, not 2024. These charges were only brought because a judge basically called out the government for its collusion with Hunter's attorneys and its attempts to cut a sweetheart plea deal, which would have precluded any future prosecutions. Remember, that was what Hunter objected to, that he wanted immunity from all future prosecution. He wanted a promise that even if new evidence arises, he wouldn't be prosecuted for any other crime except those that he pleaded guilty to. Remember, he also faces gun charges out of Delaware. Judge scuttled this. A judge said, you have to go back, federal government, and play by the rules. What I see these charges as is the least serious possible charges that the federal government could have brought to satisfy this judge, while also doing their level best to keep Joe Biden out of it. In other words, this to me was an effort at Ben Smithing. I've talked about this before. Ben Smithing. Ben Smith, I believe now a writer at the New York Times. No, I think he left and either started, I think he might have founded Semaphore, or he went to work for Semaphore, whatever. Ben Smith, at the time Ben Smithing became a part of the conservative nomenclature, was the practice of, when Ben Smith was a BuzzFeed writer, he would write the definitive article about whatever Democrat scandal it would be. For example, I think the most notable one was, coincidentally enough, also involving the IRS. 10 years ago, when Barack Obama's IRS was weaponizing audits against conservative groups, anything with Tea Party in the name that registered as a 501c3 would get far harsher treatment than something with environment or climate change in the name, for example. This was a clear attempt at bullying and harassing any group that could be potentially a problem for Obama heading into his 2012 re-election bid. But it was minimized in a huge BuzzFeed article by none other than Ben Smith. This is what he did. He would write the definitive article, so all his journalist buddies would say, hey, look, we already covered this. This is old news. And this is a strategy that goes all the way back to the Clintons. The Clintons would rely on their media buddies back in the 90s to suppress any information about Bill's infidelities or Lincoln coffees or donors sleeping in the Lincoln bedroom and this sort of thing. And by the time somebody would report on it and say, hey, this is actually kind of a bombshell scandal, the Clintons would say, oh, that was covered. This is old news. It got a term, Ben Smithing. What I believe these charges are is an attempt at Ben Smithing the Hunter Biden scandal. So by the time we're through the general election, remember, Trump faces 4 criminal trials. He is currently in one civil trial accusing his organization of massive fraud. Whenever anyone tries to bring up Hunter Biden, what's the narrative going to be? Oh, this is just an attempt to distract from Donald Trump's obvious criminality. And oh, by the way, that was dealt with last year and Joe Biden had nothing to do with it whatsoever. It also, coincidentally enough, who was scheduled to testify before Congress? Openly testify before Congress, potentially running the risk of perjuring himself? That's right, one Hunter Biden. What do you think he's going to be able to do now if he, in fact, still testifies? He's going to say, look, I have to plead the fifth because there is an ongoing criminal investigation into what it is that I allegedly did. I can't answer these questions because I'm asserting my Fifth Amendment right not to incriminate myself. It's actually kind of remarkable here. Now, if we had a press corps that was interested in reporting what just might be one of the biggest presidential scandals of our time, the fact that the vice president during a previous Democrat administration was rather obviously on the take. No objective person can look at the evidence in its totality and conclude otherwise. Why was Hunter Biden on the board? Just any liberal, please answer me this question. Why did Burisma Holdings look at Hunter Biden and say, yes, this guy is worth $1 million a year when his father, the vice president, just happened to be in charge of U.S.-Ukraine policy at the time? What possible other reason could there be? This is influence peddling. It's bribery. It's rather obviously a crime. You can't funnel direct payments to Joe Biden, although we do have direct evidence in the form of FBI informant testimony that the CEO of Burisma did say, I paid Joe Biden $5 million in bribes. I also paid his son $5 million in bribes. If we had a media that was interested in presenting to you the totality of the evidence, I think a lot more people than currently do would recognize what a big scandal this is. But this is why I call this the forbidden knowledge. Any sort of evidence that Joe Biden is in fact corrupt and has been corrupt probably for his entire political career, because this is the exact same scam that local politicians run all the time. Influence peddling is infinitely more common than you think. There's currently a federal investigation into City Hall for that exact thing. Bribery, influence peddling, involving at least a couple of Milwaukee aldermen, something first reported by WISN's Mark Belling. Do you think Joe Biden just woke up one day as vice president and said, hey, you know what, I can make money? No, he was rather obviously doing this throughout his time in government in Delaware. It's remarkably easy to do. You don't even need to ask for money. You just get money in the form of campaign contributions, but you can't make direct payments to the candidate or the politician, so you pay a family member. Tale as old as time. This has been going on in politics for hundreds of years. Hundreds of years. Yet all the evidence points to the Bidens engaging in it, and nope, couldn't possibly happen. Like I said, forbidden knowledge. You are not allowed to know this because this is the thing, much more even than the age or infirmity questions about Biden's fitness to serve. This is the sort of thing that the American people get disgusted about with their politicians, and it causes them to turn on them. If all of this was piled on top of old Joe, in addition to the horrid state of the nation's economy, to the questions about his physical and mental fitness to serve, there's no chance he would win re-election, even against Trump. And that's why this needs to be the forbidden knowledge it is. Unhinged Liberal of the Day coming up next.
Your home or business is a reflection of you. Now, if you're looking to take it from middling to sizzling, you need the help of your local CertaPro painters and the power of Pro. That's CertaPro's power of listening to your needs and delivering a customized project plan, and the power of doing the job right, on time, and within your budget. Contact CertaPro painters today at CertaPro.com. The power of Pro.
Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated.
But I do remember at Christmas where we got these bottle rockets.
Ben and Arvid from Penny Mustard Furnishings.
And one of them landed on the porch roof. Our oldest brother went and got a ladder. He goes up there and he's like, there's a bag up here. And we're like, what? There's a bag up here.
And we decided that Santa Claus had dropped a bag that was intended for us that had landed on the porch roof.
That's what it was.
Yes.
There's a pair of brand new pajamas to each of us.
And we would have never seen it if the bottle rocket hadn't landed up there.
Right.
Merry Christmas from Penny Mustard Furnishings.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semper Fi.
Our production department really kicked it into gear this season, and we finished before we thought we would. And we'd like to keep our people working until the snow flies, so we're going to offer a discount. Now, a lot of discounts you hear about, they're just off an already inflated rate that ends up right in the same slot as everybody else. In this case, because we're past our break-even point, we can offer a real discount. And here it is. We can afford to take 10% off your roofing project if you call and sign up before the end of the year. If we can't get to it because the weather turns south on us, we'll still hold your price for next year. And this isn't some fugazi discount. It's 10% off what our pricing would normally be. It's for roofs only, and it expires at the end of the year. So take advantage of a nice discount on top quality workmanship from good people who care. We're Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semper Fi.
Jada doesn't believe in dreaming. Jada believes in doing, which is why she does all her banking with Landmark Credit Union. Checking account? Check. Savings? Certainly. Car loan? Mortgage? Most definitely. Landmark makes it easy for Jada to do all she does digitally with the Landmark app. Anytime, anywhere. Done and done. Just how Jada likes it. Landmark Credit Union. Banking made easy. Insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
How's your money feeling? It's about to feel happier with a certificate from Happy Money's partner, Alliant Credit Union. Elevate and increase your savings with 12-month terms and only $1,000 minimum. And the happiest part? Alliant certificates yield 5.25% APY annual percentage yield. Now that's a happier side of money. Elevate your savings. Go to happymoney.com/Alliant. That's ALLIANT. Funds insured up to $250,000 by NCUA. The APY is accurate as of the 11/1/2023 dividend declaration date. Early withdrawal penalties do apply. Fees may reduce earnings on the account. Any monthly withdrawals or transfers reduce earnings.
With the holidays upon us, the increase in traveling, shopping, and connecting online also heightens the need to protect your identity and finances with LifeLock. Identity thieves see this time of year as an opportunity to drain your accounts, open new loans in your name, and damage your financial future. LifeLock detects and alerts you to the threats you might miss on your own. Don't let the busy holiday season catch you off guard. Save up to 25% off your first year with promo code CLAY. LifeLock.com, promo code CLAY.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
We asked people why they sold their homes to Grandview Homes instead of using a real estate agent.
We needed to sell Mom's home quickly and with a company we could rely on.
No showings, no closing costs, no staging, no real estate agent fees, no added stress.
Whether you have a hard-to-sell home, want a stress-free sale, or simply need to sell your home fast, Grandview Homes is the name you know and the name you can trust. Visit GrandviewHomes.com to discover the easiest and fastest way to sell a home.
Hospitalized medicine doesn't want you dead. Unfortunately, they also don't want you healthfully out of the profit matrix. At Total Health, our goal is to restore health so you don't need treatment. It's not theory. Relativity equals expertise plus execution. TotalHealthInc.com.
Goodyear, Dunlop, Kelly, Continental, General, you name it, we got it.
Plus, free flat tire repair, free tire rotations, and more.
So when you're due for tire service, schedule it at richlawns.com.
That's Rich Lawns with 2 N's.
Rich Lawns.
back to the Dan O'Donnell Show. Coming up next hour on the Friday edition, we look back at the strangest stories of the week. What football coach used 9/11 as a motivating tool for his players? Find out coming up at about 10:20. Right now, though, time to name the unhinged liberal of the day.
Trump is Hitler.
We are in pre-Nazi Germany.
All white people are racist.
Trump is dangerous because he's evil.
America is over.
Today's unhinged liberal of the day really should be called today's evil liberal of the day. It is Nihad Hawad. He is the president of CAIR, the Council on American Islamic Relations, one of the most, if not the most popular Islamic groups among the political left. A couple of weeks ago at an event, he expressed how happy he was that a bunch of Jews were murdered on October 7th.
The people of Gaza only decided to break the siege, the walls of the concentration camp on October 7th. And yes, I was happy to see people breaking the siege and throwing down the shackles of their own land and walk free into their land that they were not allowed to walk in. The people of Gaza have the right to self-defense, have the right to defend themselves. And yes, Israel as an occupying power does not have that right to self-defense.
That pretty much in a 45-second soundbite is what every radical leftist and Islamist have thought privately about the October 7th attack, that these were people, the martyrs, remember glory to the martyrs, that little chant, were striking back against their occupiers. When people are occupied, resistance is justified, that happy little chant, and they are trying to reclaim their land from the river to the sea. Palestine, will be free. Nihad Hawad, your unhinged liberal of the day. The White House has since disavowed all ties with CAIR. As recently as May 25th, it announced CAIR as one of the partners in an anti-Semitism initiative. It was going to, quote, launch a tour to educate religious communities about steps they can take to protect their houses of worship from hate incidents, such as instituting appropriate security measures, developing strong relationships with other faith communities, and maintaining open lines of communication with local law enforcement. Who knew that the White House and its task force needed to protect houses of worship from the president of CAIR? Now, he is, of course, out with a statement saying that he was misquoted, that it wasn't really what he meant, that he was happy that a bunch of people paraglided in to commit one of the most heinous terror attacks in world history and engage in the single biggest slaughter of Jewish people since the Holocaust. No, he totally wasn't happy about that. When people tell you who they are, believe them. When people reveal who they are, pay attention. Nihad Hawad, and by extension, the entire organization of CAIR, need to be removed from all government contracts, partnerships, and everything else immediately. They are a hate group.
News that's factual, fair, and balanced. This is continuing coverage on News Talk 1130 WISN, Milwaukee.
Good morning, I'm Ted Allen. A police chase in Milwaukee ended with a fiery crash near the UWM campus. Happened yesterday morning. The crash was caught on video. Milwaukee police say the chase started when suspects in a stolen car sped away from officers. That chase ended when the stolen car hit a moving car, then two parked cars near Kramer and Linwood. The stolen car ended up underneath the two parked cars. All three caught on fire. Police say the four suspects in the stolen car all ran away. There are no reports of any injuries. There are reports of a deal between Republican lawmakers and the University of Wisconsin to spend less on DEI in exchange for more money for UW pay raises. Assembly Speaker Robin Vos put a hold on that pay raise money to pressure the university to cut diversity, equity, and inclusion spending. He also held up money for a new UW-Madison engineering building. Now the university is reportedly willing to restructure up to 60 DEI administrations. There'd also be, according to the reports, a 3-year freeze on new DEI hires. Lawmakers would then release $32 million for the university, as well as the millions for the university's pay raises. President Biden's son is facing federal tax charges. Special counsel David Weiss charged Hunter Biden yesterday after a grand jury indicted him on 9 counts, including 3 felonies. The charges include tax evasion, failing to file and pay taxes, and filing false tax returns. Checking the WISN Sports Scoreboard after bowing out of the NBA in-season tournament last night, the Bucks next host the Chicago Bulls Monday night. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Ted Allen on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
Hey, it's Dan O'Donnell. You hear me talk all the time about just how great Mander Collision and Glass is. Here's customer Zachary, who just stopped into Mander's brand new location in Muskego. I've hardly been taken care of like this by any business. When I asked my friends and family where I should take my car to be serviced, they told me that Mander Collision in Muskego had done excellent work for them and that I shouldn't settle for any other shop. They were right. I'm beyond overjoyed with not only my car, but the professionalism and kindness of the staff. I felt like family. When I looked at my finished vehicle, I immediately noticed the quality paintwork. As someone who knows about painting, it was beyond belief. It's interesting to read the other reviews and think about how many other people in our community have been treated like this by the kind people at Mander. Thanks for sharing your story, Zachary. That's why I always say Mander Collision truly is your best decision after a collision.
Here's the latest forecast from the Fox 6 weather experts.
Increasingly cloudy today and staying very mild, a high near 56 with a strong southwest wind throughout the day. Showers arrive overnight tonight and last into Saturday morning. A wintry mix is possible late Saturday. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Rob Haswell.
This report is sponsored by Wendy's Peppermint Frosty. The holidays are back, and you know what else is back? Wendy's Peppermint Frosty. So take some time for yourself with this cold and creamy treat this year. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's Peppermint Frosty. Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Vanilla Frosty is temporarily unavailable.
Hot summer night. Lightning strike. Down goes the tree, right through their bedroom wall, nearly ruining a walnut headboard, which is pretty hard wood. Fortunately, the customers were okay. But the headboard? That wasn't. Until they called us. We made that Victorian headboard better than new. So if you're looking for the finest in furniture finishing, repair, and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair, where no job's too small. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. Well, if you haven't heard me bragging by now, we're darn good. Actually, my dad has no qualms about saying we're the best. And if you're skeptical, I understand. But all you have to do is go to MullallyFinishing.com to learn why we're great at what we do and see lots of before and after photos that show off our impressive work. So if you're looking for a name you can trust, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com.
Dan O'Donnell here, calling all kids to be a part of our 2023 Family Christmas Special. Moms and dads want to hear your kids singing or playing their instruments on the radio? Just send a video or audio recording of them performing a Christmas song to me at dod@iheartmedia.com. Keep it under 2 minutes and listen for them when the show airs multiple times at Christmas. All kids are welcome, and so are school and church bands, orchestras, and choirs. Just email me at dod@iheartmedia.com.
Hello, commercial customers. This is Michael Lynch from Lynch Truck Center, and it's end of the year tax planning season. We've continued to work hard sourcing over 400 of the best GM, Hino, and Isuzu commercial trucks from all over the country. Most are ready to go, and some are ready for your custom upfit. The best part? All of our trucks qualify for the Section 179 tax deduction for 2023. Now, I know you're busy running your business, but we've made it easy. Go to lynchtruckcenter.com, Select your truck and click on the green button on each truck page to instantly see potential tax savings. For example, if you buy a $50,000 truck at a 22% tax rate, you'll get $11,000 in potential tax savings. You can deduct 100% of the purchase price from your 2023 taxes. Essentially, the truck will only cost you $39,000. Remember, we are in the truck business, not accountants. So, be sure to verify these tax savings with your tax professional. Visit LynchTruckCenter.com today. We won't disappoint you.
With the holidays upon us, the increase in traveling, shopping, and connecting online also heightens the need to protect your identity and finances with LifeLock. Identity thieves see this time of year as an opportunity to drain your accounts, open new loans in your name, and damage your financial future. LifeLock detects and alerts you to the threats you might miss on your own. Don't let the busy holiday season catch you off guard. Save up to 25% off your first year with promo code CLAY. LifeLock.com, promo code CLAY.
Be sure to listen to the Annex Wealth Management Investment Show Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday afternoons at 1 on News Talk 1130 WISN. Annex provides its expertise to arm listeners with the knowledge and tools to invest wisely. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference.
Offering one of the strongest lineups of talk show hosts in the history of local radio. This is Wisconsin's most listened to radio station. News Talk 1130 WISN.
99,000 jobs created. The unemployment rate drops to 3.7%, but not a whole lot of cause for celebration. That report out today. The big question is, what is the Federal Reserve going to do? We know it's not going to raise interest rates any further, certainly not in an election year, but will it aggressively cut to spur the nation's economy on even further? The 199,000 seasonally adjusted jobs, kind of in line with analyst expectations, maybe a little bit higher. Sign when combined with the 4.52 GDP growth in the third quarter of 2023 speaks to a relatively strong economy. However, people are struggling. We'll get into the reasons why in just a second. AdventKnows.com talk and text line 414-799-1130, 1-800-838-9476. You can email me, DOD@iHeartMedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on Twitter/X, Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show as well. Remember, stream us live via the Dan O'Cam on YouTube.com/Dan O'Donnell Show as well. We are, of course, streaming on Twitter and X as well. So why are people struggling? Why is the average American not telling pollsters that they feel good about the economy? Call it the Home Alone test. Yes, the 1990 Christmas classic featuring 8-year-old Kevin McAllister stranded at home as his parents take off for a Christmas vacation in Paris. Now, there is one scene in particular that I think perfectly illustrates why people are struggling. Now, for those who haven't seen Home Alone, where have you been? It was like the highest grossing comedy film for 3 decades before I think The Hangover overtook it in 2009. Okay, 2 decades. This thing is a cultural icon, but if you haven't seen it, the entire plot is how Kevin essentially grows up. He's a helpless little 8-year-old boy at the beginning of the film. By the end, he's setting up complicated booby traps to stop a couple of robbers. But in the interim, he starts to do chores, like going to the grocery store.
Are those microwave dinners any good? I don't know. I'll give him a whirl. For the kids. Hold on, I got a coupon for that. It was in the paper this morning. 1983. Okay.
Now, Kevin did have a coupon. He bought a little package of Army Men for the kids, of course. He bought a half-gallon of milk, a half-gallon of orange juice, a TV dinner, which the clerk confirmed were okay, and he would give a whirl, bread, frozen mac and cheese, laundry detergent, cling wrap, toilet paper, and dryer sheets. All of that cost him $19.83. Now, this movie was made in 1990, so that clearly isn't going to cost the same today. When Joe Biden took office, that same grocery list cost $44.40. It's reasonable. You had roughly 30 years of inflation in there, almost exactly 30 years of inflation. The price more than doubles. Since Biden took office, that same grocery list, half a gallon of milk, half a gallon of orange juice, a TV dinner, bread, frozen mac and cheese, laundry detergent, cling wrap, toilet paper, dryer sheets, and a pack of Army Men for the kids costs $72.28. The price of living under Joe Biden has become unaffordable. The average American family is now spending $11,000 more per year on everyday necessities, just like the stuff Kevin McAllister bought, than it did at the same time when Joe Biden took office. The economy is doing okay in a macro sense. People's personal economies are not, and it is all due to inflation. Not only that, people are finding themselves stuck. They can't make big purchases like a home or a car, or even things that might require smaller amounts of financing, appliances, TVs, things like that, because to combat inflation, interest rates are off the charts. Whereas just a couple of years ago, a mortgage would be 3%. Now it's 8%. That's causing people who would otherwise stay in their homes maybe a year or two and then move, or maybe remodel, to rethink those plans because they simply can't afford them. Nobody is moving. This is causing significant strain in the housing market, which here in Wisconsin anyway, supply has fallen to 16 to 20-year lows. People who are in the market for a new house can't find one because nobody wants to get out of their existing mortgage. You see the problem that inflation is having everywhere. Companies are spending more, ergo they need to pass on those costs to consumers. Consumers are forced to bite the bullet not only on spending, but also on higher taxes. Sales taxes are increasing. Income taxes are increasing. Property taxes are increasing. The cost of everything has gone up precipitously in the Biden era. But nowhere is this more evident than at the grocery store. Call it the Home Alone test. If you're paying more by a factor of more than 3 than what Kevin McAllister paid in Home Alone, you can thank Biden and his inflation for that. Big scandal in Milwaukee involving an alderman's wife. Bob Bauman, who represents downtown Milwaukee, has a challenger by the name of Ray Nitti. This is not to be confused with Frank Nitti, the alias of Frank Sensabaugh, a criminal/social justice activist. Ray Nitti is challenging Bauman, and Bauman's wife went on Nitty's Facebook page and, well, went ham. The story from CBS 58.
On Tuesday night, Ray Nitty was stunned when he saw these comments on his Facebook page from Tammy Bansmer, Bob Bauman's wife, after announcing his run for the aldermanic seat for District 4. Her comments captured by screenshots saying, in part, get people off living off the state, and then adding, how is it that white people in 53208 own homes, have educations, work every day, pay their taxes? It's not easy. Continuing, I'm just being honest because white people in my neighborhood are afraid to be honest because they fear being shot. Clean up this neighborhood with your African American constituents.
I was taken back. I was shocked that, somebody of such high-ranking political stature here, his wife would kind of just jump out on a limb like that.
And he says those comments are something Alderman Bob Bauman should answer to. And he did.
It's very disturbing to me. We've been going through some personal issues. She's been going through some personal issues. I had no idea anything was being posted on Facebook.
Bauman says he was equally shocked and says he does not share those same sentiments.
I certainly don't share the comments that were expressed on Facebook. I don't know what she was thinking. She was not thinking right, clearly.
Oh, Bauman. Just tossing his wife right overboard. If I'm Mrs. Bauman, Tammy Bansmer, I'm not getting in a boat with Alderman Bob. I think it's going to end up like Big Pussy from The Sopranos. Yeah, so my wife's nuts, and I'm totally going to divorce her. The comments were, white people fear speaking up because they're going to get shot. No. White people fear speaking up because they're afraid of getting canceled. I'll decide for yourself. This is what she posted all over this guy's Facebook page. Now, let's start at the beginning here. It's all posted CBS58.com. How about supporting self-care, being sexually responsible, stop having kids? How is it that the white people in 53208 own homes, have educations, work every day, pay their taxes? It's not easy. We work hard to get packages stolen off our porch, see drug deals, have our cars stolen, have to pay out of pocket for all these things that happen to us, have our car parts stolen, not fair. So if you can bring change, then prove it, but I think you're just adding to reverse discrimination. Get fathers to be responsible. Get people off living off the state. I'm just being honest because white people in my neighborhood are afraid to be honest because they fear being shot. Guess what? My house got shot at. I was only feet away from a bullet, relaxing at home because I'm a presence of good and am sick of this fear we homeowners live in. Not fair. It's like we are supposed to be quiet, live with our windows shut with curtains, alarms, unfair. So you be the new voice. Clean up this neighborhood with your African American, and then it's cut off. African American constituents, I guess she says. Maybe hand out condoms with your name and website. I will point out your here is spelled Y-O-U apostrophe R-E. Should be Y-O-U-R. What is it about people? If I do nothing else with my life, I am going to try to educate people on the proper use of your. Y-O-U-R versus Y-O-U apostrophe R-E. It is not particularly hard. If you are using the contraction, you are, just think of that little apostrophe replacing the A. If you are talking about your video games, your computer, it's Y-O-U-R. Possessive, Y-O-U-R. Contraction, Y-O-U apostrophe R-E. Don't even get me started on there, and there. I don't know. It's going to drive me crazy. If I ever become the next WISN talk show host to have a stroke on the air, it will be because of either your or their. My brain cannot handle it. All right. Tammy continues. Maybe hand out condoms with your name and website. Have them join your website, Y-O-U-R. YOU'', put on their names and guide them to become successful and stop getting pregnant. And for the men, same thing. How about supporting self-care, being sexually responsible, stop having kids? That class of people share my zip code 53208. I also believe, my opinion is, rap has changed the behavior of people. Some rappers say so many bad things, glamorizing drugs, parties, money, illegal behavior. That's something that is influential to a class. Is a lot of what she said really racist? Yeah, kind of. It is. I will point out here, again, why is it white Democrats, when they sort of peel the mask off a little bit, always reveal themselves to really, really, really dislike people of other races and ethnicities? What she, I believe, was trying to say is something that a lot of people really are scared to say, that there is deep dysfunction within Milwaukee's black community. Racism doesn't explain why black people make up 90% of the homicide victims year in and year out. It's somewhere between 78 to 90%. They are overwhelmingly overrepresented as both criminal defendants and criminal victims. They are far less proficient as children, according to Milwaukee Public Schools statistics, in both English language arts and reading. Median household income in Milwaukee significantly lags that of whites and Hispanics. Racism doesn't account for all of that, but to suggest that this is a racial issue is fallacy. And to suggest that it's if you are in one racial demographic, you necessarily are going to have the same outcome as everyone else in a racial demographic is racist on its face. I have long maintained that we don't have a problem with race in this country per se. We have a problem with class. We have a problem with people of lower classes of all races and of all demographics with huge, huge problems of, yes, fatherlessness, drug addiction, alcohol abuse, substance abuse of all sorts. Whether it's street drugs, whether it's alcohol, whether it's, yes, marijuana, which absolutely can be abused, yet Democrats want to make more available to everyone. You don't see high-performing people of all races typically fall into these traps. Do you know what the single biggest driver of poverty is in this country? Single biggest. Time and time again, it's proven. It's not race. It's not drug abuse or alcohol, even that. Do you know what it is? Single motherhood. If you are a single mother, you are infinitely more likely to be in poverty than anyone else in this country. That cuts across all racial demographics. Racism, bigotry doesn't explain that. And a lot of people do get a pass for poor personal decisions and dysfunction within homes. I mean, I think, and if you've been listening to this program at all over the past, my goodness, I've been on the air for nearly 7 years. If you've been listening to this program at all in those 7 years, you've known that I think one of the biggest problems that we have in this country is a severe, severe mental health crisis. That we have people who are severely mentally ill, who find themselves self-medicating with drugs and alcohol. That exacerbates the problem. This leads to utter dysfunction. Kids are growing up not learning home skills, not learning how to behave in social situations. They are seeing, I don't think it's rap music per se, but you have, because tons of kids listen to rap music and 99% of them don't become gang members. All my kids listen to is rap. And for those of you who say, why are you late? You try to tell a 16-year-old kid what he can and can't listen to, okay? Suffice it to say, I don't think my 16-year-old is going to grow up to be a gangbanger. He might be slinging rocks on the side, but I doubt it. The reason for this is because there is, amongst America's lower classes, again, cutting across all racial demographics. Do you want me to prove my point? Do you know if systemic racism was to blame for African American median household income being so much lower than white Americans or Hispanic Americans, Chinese, do you know what the highest median household income is? It is nearly double white Americans in this country. Indian Americans. Indian Americans have easily the highest median income, followed by Chinese Americans, Japanese Americans, Pakistani Americans. Nigerian Americans have a dramatically higher median household income than white Americans. I don't think I need to tell you that Nigerian Americans are black. Immigrants from Ghana, also in Africa, also black, significantly higher median household income, significantly higher education levels than white Americans. It's not race. It's dysfunction. It is a function not of poverty, because poverty is a symptom of the dysfunction, of the mental health, of the decades and decades and decades of dysfunctional family units. Now, I'm not here to tell you that, okay, well, if you come from a single family home, you're going to have problems. My parents divorced when I was 15, at least they separated when I was 15. My younger brother was 5 years old, something like that. He's a doctor now, okay? Both parents were involved. It doesn't matter whether both parents are in the home so long as there is some semblance of stability. When there isn't, that's when you get all sorts of problems. And then you get this generational spiral, generation after generation after generation. You call it generational wealth. There's also generational poverty. There's also generational dysfunction. And the idea, so many liberals, including to a large extent, Bob Bauman, say, well, it's because of systemic racism in this country. Okay, well, how do you explain the Nigerian American paradox? What, you think this country just in its infinite racism just sort of forgot to be racist against Indian Americans? Pacific Islanders? Come on. So what Bauman's wife is expressing, anyone want to take a wild guess that she was hammered out of her mind when she wrote this? I mean, I'm reading this, I'm like, this woman is clearly drunk. And this is sort of what I think liberals want to express, what I'm saying, but they don't quite understand because they can't get beyond this idea that somehow their white guilt, well, it has to be white people's problem. No, it isn't. It's not society's problem. It's a problem of individual, personal choice and circumstance. And in large measure, I do agree that kids are being born into households where it is very, very difficult to escape that cycle. But instead of actually doing something to affect meaningful change, we've got the same Democrats with the same idea. Milwaukee has been run exclusively by Democrats since 1908. We have had 3 socialist mayors since the last Republican mayor in Milwaukee. What's changed? Have things gotten better for black Milwaukeeans or worse? Why do you suppose that is? Because it's the same people with the same ideas about this generational dysfunction. Well, we have to be politically correct here. We can't say it's individual choice. We have to say, well, it's because of America's systemic racism and slavery. And then you've got these moronic intellectuals, quote unquote, like Ibram X. Kendi, fueling them, saying, why, yes, it is. Yes, it is. Oh, okay. Do I get to blame the Irish potato famine for my own struggles? Would anybody say, okay, you know what? America is just holding me down because of the potato blight. Well, that's different. Oh, is it? Do you know how the almost every Irish person came to this country in the 1830s, 1840s, 1850s as indentured servants? You think some Irish potato farmer starving could pay the freight to America? No. They worked as indentured servants, essentially slaves. Is that the same thing as owning another human being? Of course not, you morons. It's not. But no one would suggest that I could excuse away my own personal problems. If I rob a liquor store, would anyone buy the excuse, well, I had to because my great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather had to escape poverty in Ireland and was an indentured servant? You'd laugh in my face. Thomas Sowell called it the soft bigotry of low expectations. And I think there's nothing soft about it. When the expectation is, well, because of X, this person has no choice but to do Y. That's bigoted on its face. That is writing off an entire race of people as individuals because of their belonging to a collective group. This is why I think liberalism, I have always thought this, the racial demagoguery of modern liberal politics is about as racist as it gets because it clumps people into these convenient boxes and says, okay, well, you're a member of this oppressed group, ergo, you need to not be successful. You are not successful, and you can't be because of this systematic oppression of the group you belong to. Give me a break. Give me an honest to goodness break. And if we're going to talk about government policy and society, well, the government that impacts people the most is the government that they're closest to, right? So you explain to me how Black Milwaukeeans have been impacted by more than a century of liberal Democrat and even socialist leadership. Seriously. Do you realize Milwaukee in the 1940s and 1950s was called the Harlem of the Midwest? Do you know that? People would come to Milwaukee, the Bronzeville neighborhood. Milwaukee was a mecca for Black families coming from the South because they weren't dealing with the racism of Southern Democrats. And there were Black-owned businesses. There was tons of Black upward mobility. And then we get a liberal Democrat president, LBJ, liberal Democrat state and local government in Milwaukee. We institute a welfare state that essentially traps people in this endless cycle of poverty. War on poverty has been over for a long time, and poverty has won. And the best we get is, no, it's not Democrat policies that have negatively impacted people who are trapped in Democrat cities. It's, this nebulous concept of racism. And guess who the real racists are? Republicans, even though the ones who are actually enacting the last legally allowable racist policies were all Democrats. Make it make sense, as the kids say. As you can tell, I get fired up about this stuff. Unhinged, or no, not unhinged. How bizarre, coming up next.
Prepare the way of the Lord. It's Advent, and this is Archbishop Listecki. We in the Catholic Church are in the middle of the Eucharistic revival, spreading the word about the real presence of Christ in the Eucharist. During Mass, the bread and the wine become the body and blood of Christ, and we receive Jesus at every Mass. If you haven't been in church lately, Advent is the perfect time to renew your relationship with Jesus, the only true joy you'll experience in this life. Join us at Mass and experience the love of Jesus in the Eucharist.
If you've fallen out of love with your home, maybe you just need a refresh. Contact CertaPro Painters and we'll put the power of Pro to work for you. That's CertaPro's power to transform living rooms and rejuvenate kitchens. The power to get the job done right, on time, and within your budget. Get that lovin' feeling back with the help of CertaPro Painters. Start your project at CertaPro.com. The power of Pro. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated.
Sick of all the homeowner headaches? Tired of being a landlord? Did you inherit a property? Go to MetroMilwaukeeHomebuyer.com. We are a local family business, A+ with the BBB. It will make you a fair as-is cash offer within 24 hours. No fees, just cash. MetroMilwaukeeHomebuyer.com.
Save on the tools you need now through December 9th during Nye's Tool Day sale. Get a 12-amp battery and blower when you buy a Milwaukee Fuel 18-volt chainsaw, a $429.98 value. Also, save $100 $10 on select Milwaukee Fuel 18-volt toolkits with bonus battery. Shop these great deals and more at Nyes. Vendors on site. See the vendor schedule online. Nyes. Great hardware. Big on tools. Highways 41, 45, and Q in Menominee Falls. Visit NEUShardware.com for details.
Get 10% off your roofing project if you call and sign up before the end of the year. And if the weather turns south, we'll still hold your price for next year. So count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
Hi, this is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. The holiday season should remind us that faith and family are the most important things in life. And we hope that you succeed in coming together this holiday season with those you love and in the process creating some generational memories. Holidays have this magical power to magnify small things to ever greater memories over time. What a return on investment. Happy holidays.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Milwaukee attorneys. 111 East Kilbourne Avenue, Suite 1650, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 53202.
With the holidays upon us, the increase in traveling, shopping, and connecting online also heightens the need to protect your identity and finances with LifeLock. Identity thieves see this time of year as an opportunity to drain your accounts, open new loans in your name, and damage your financial future. LifeLock detects and alerts you to the threats you might miss on your own. Don't let the busy holiday season catch you off guard. Save up to 25% off your first year with promo code CLAY. LifeLock.com, promo code CLAY.
Producer Greg sitting in for Dave. This is Lindsey Sterling, right? In our bumper music rotation. Double click on it. He'll tell you the artist. It's a jam. Yeah, God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen by Lindsey Sterling off of her, I believe it's her second Christmas album. If you never had a chance to see Lindsey Sterling live, she is a violinist, obviously, and she does elaborate. She's got just an incredible stage performance. Unfortunately, I was out of town. I had to miss the last time she was here, but just an incredibly talented woman. All right, it is time now to throw aside the cares of a workaday world and focus not on the serious, but the silly. Ladies and gentlemen, time for our weekly segment.
How bizarre! How bizarre! How bizarre!
Buffalo Bills coach Sean McDermott says today that he regretted mentioning 9/11 in a 2019 training camp talk with his team and immediately apologized to players. McDermott emphasized that he made the comments to discuss the importance of communication and being on the same page with the team, saying he regretted mentioning 9/11 in his remarks. Well, what were those remarks? He made a morning address, got the entire team together, right, for the morning address in training camp before the 2019 season. He said, the team, we need to come together, right? We need to get fired up. We need to come together. He then picked a strange model, according to sources in the room. The terrorists on September 11th, 2001. He cited the hijackers as a group of people who were all able to get on the same page to orchestrate attacks to perfection. Yes, really. Then, one by one, McDermott started asking specific players in the room questions about the 9/11 hijackers. He asked one player, what tactics do you think they used to come together? This player tried to answer methodically. You know, he wants to impress the coach. This is my favorite part of the story, though. He then asks a veteran, what do you think the hijackers' biggest obstacle was? The veteran responds, TSA. which, according to reporter Tyler Dunn, mercifully lightened the mood. Sean McDermott. So he's apologizing now, and this was first reported by the website Go Long. Asked why he mentioned 9/11 and whether hijackers were specifically referenced as an example of a group coming together, McDermott said it was mentioning 9/11 in the context of the team meeting. The goal of the team meeting was the importance of communication and being on the same page as him. How about like talking about SEAL Team 6 and the mission to capture or kill Osama bin Laden? You think those guys needed to be pretty coordinated. Meanwhile, you got Sean McDermott, the coach of the Buffalo Bills, sounding like the president of an Ivy League university testifying before Congress. Watch. The next time he's trying to fire up his team before a game, he goes, "Hey, guys, gather around. I'm going to read the most inspiring letter I've ever read. This is Osama bin Laden's letter to America. Let's hear it and get fired up. Let's get fired up."
How bizarre.
There you go.
How bizarre. How bizarre.
Producer Greg, yeah, when I point to you, that means you got to hit the mute. I'm not just pointing at you because, you know what, Greg? You and we need to get on the same page here, like the 9/11 hijackers, all right? You and I need to be like bin Laden, giving you orders. Who is you're the blind sheik, right? You're pushing all the right buttons. I'm like the bin Laden. Who thinks of this? Like, honest to goodness, examples of team. Dead serious about this. First of all, it's 2019, right? It's an 18-year-old reference at the time. Most of these players are, 5-6 years old when 9/11 happened. So, all right, let's say you're a hijacker. Let's say, what? All right. What? He didn't have any good Pearl Harbor references? All right, guys, gather around. Let's say you're Emperor Hirohito and you want to attack a naval base. You, Josh Allen, you're one of the Japanese Zero pilots. How do you go about dive bombing a destroyer? What? A speech which will live in infamy for the Buffalo Bills. And here I thought O.J. Simpson was the worst Buffalo Bill. He still is, totally. He killed 2 people. But Sean McDermott, and McDermott's already under fire. This, by the way, this is the sort of stuff that leaks out when a coach is about to be fired, because the Bills are totally underperforming. All right, I got to get to the next story. This one is too funny. BBC presenter has apologized after greeting viewers of a news broadcast with her middle finger raised. Maryam Moshiri, chief presenter on BBC News, seen to make the obscene gesture after a countdown to the start of the show. She quickly realized she was live on air and reverted, to normal. Moshiri says it was a private joke. I'm so sorry about this. I was having a private joke with the team in the gallery and pretending to count down as the director was counting me down from 10 to 0, including the fingers to show the number. The video does actually show that. It was a silly little innocent thing. We got to 1. I turned finger around as a joke and did not realize that this would be caught on camera. It was a private joke with the team, and I'm so sorry it went out on air. It was not my intention for this to happen. This is, unique for the BBC, which usually just gives the finger to viewers metaphorically in the way it reports on stories.
How bizarre. How bizarre.
And finally, on How Bizarre, this is bizarre. This might be the first time this has happened. I have got the story up, but it is not loading. It's a candidate who lost by a single vote. 1 vote. I don't know where. It's in Washington State, based on the website, but the story is not loading. I can tell you, based on memory, that it was a local candidate for a municipal board who was running for election, and he lost by a single vote. Guess what he forgot to do? Vote for himself. That's right. He didn't vote for himself. And and lost by a single vote. Ladies and gentlemen, every vote really does matter. That, your weekly look back at the strangest stories of the past 7 days in a segment we call
How Bizarre! How Bizarre! How Bizarre!
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, owner of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services and host of the Designer Yard Show. Another landscaping season is in the books, and what a great season it was. I started Seasonal Services 30 years ago, and I enjoy every day. Yes, some days are tough, but we've persevered because of many special people. The Christmas season is a great time to share our appreciation of others. So let me start by thanking our suppliers, clients, and the many builders who trust us with their valued clients. And to those of you who love gardening and nature as much as we do, thanks for listening to the Designer Yard Show every Saturday. Finally, thanks to the entire Seasonal Services team. You arrive early and you go home late. You give your all every day on the hottest days of summer and the coldest days of winter. You appreciate that hard work is rewarding, and for that, I give you my admiration and thanks. So on behalf of all of us at Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services, best wishes for 2024.
When it comes to car buying in Wisconsin, it pays to visit one of Russ Darrow's 15 convenient locations for all your vehicle needs. Not only do they have a loyalty system where you earn points with every service to be used on future vehicles, but they also reward you with 1 year of no-charge maintenance with every purchase. No matter what vehicle you buy from them, you'll be getting the best price. All of Russ Darrow's dealerships provide what they call live market pricing. Basically, it means they compare their price of a vehicle against every other competitor to make sure they've got the most affordable price. They also offer Darrow certified vehicles, which have undergone a 110-point inspection to ensure you're getting the best quality no matter what. These vehicles also come with a 3-year, 100,000-mile protection warranty. These are just a few of the reasons why I am happy to be a Russ Darrow customer for all my automotive needs, and you should be as well. Go to russdarrow.com to find out why it pays to be a Russ Darrow customer.
Come to Kessler's this Christmas.
You'll get the lowest prices of a lifetime.
And a gift that will last forever.
Put a bigger diamond in her engagement ring.
Or give her a big pair of diamond stud earrings.
The kind that people notice from across the room.
Diamond stud earrings always fit perfectly, and they can be worn with anything.
But diamond earrings always look best when they are worn with a smile.
And with every purchase of at least $298, you'll get a marvelous leather travel case for your jewelry.
Just 4 inches square by 2 inches thick, wonderfully padded and full of perfect little compartments.
You're going to love it.
Kessler's is the largest employee-owned diamond company in the world.
Our stores have nearly 9,000 Google reviews.
And each store has a 4.9 star average.
Except for the 2 that have 5 stars.
You're going to be happy, happy, happy.
Find the Kessler's nearest you.
And see our extended holiday hours
at KesslersDiamonds.com.
Honey, is our car still under warranty?
No, not anymore.
My sister just got an extended service plan from Ox Car Care.
Ox Car Care?
Yeah, Ox will cover our repair bills if anything happens to our car, new brakes, a transmission, AC, or engine problems. Plus, Ox Car Care offers free oil changes, tire rotation, and roadside assistance.
Wait a minute, we pay nothing on the repairs? Ox gets it fixed for us? Free oil changes, free tire rotation, and free roadside assistance? What's the number?
800-233-1602. Ox has a 30-day money-back guarantee and an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau. They handle their claims from start to finish, unlike other warranty companies. We should call now, 800-233-1602.
The last thing we need is an unexpected car repair bill. I'm calling Ox Car Care now.
Call Ox Car Care for your free quote. 800-233-1602. Ask about senior and military discounts. Don't get stuck with a major car repair bill. Call Ox Car Care, 800-233-1602, or go to oxcarcare.com.
Set your game plan for a new baseball season with a 2024 Brewers 4-pack. Pick from 4 action-packed plan choices, each loaded with can't-miss Brewers games to fit your schedule and the best ticket prices. All available before single-game tickets are sold. Plus, when you buy a pair of 4-packs, you'll get a limited edition Brewers knit hat. Find the right plan for you today at brewers.com/4packs.
There's a reason people sold to Grandview Homes instead of using a real estate agent.
We needed to sell Mom's home quickly and with a company we could rely on.
No showings, no closing costs, no added stress.
Visit GrandviewHomes.com to discover the easiest and fastest way to sell a home.
If you want a fiduciary guiding your financial plan that will treat your assets as if they were their own, go to FinancialStrategiesInc.com.
Financial strategies, what's the way to build your wealth?
Welcome back to Ask Hassellus.
If Hassellus Mattress doesn't have employees, how do customers buy mattresses?
Easy. Just order by phone, online, or at our in-store kiosk.
Also, why say you slept like a baby when babies don't sleep well?
I don't know about babies, but you sleep better having paid way less. Through Monday, get a $200 credit towards your new CertaPerfect Sleeper, Beauty Rest, or Sealy Posturepedic mattress, and free next-day delivery.
No more questions, Your Honor.
Find an employee-free showroom near you at Hassellus.com.
Join News Talk 1130 this Saturday at 4 p.m. for The Word on Medicine, the show that brings you the latest medical innovations and discoveries by physicians and scientists at the Medical College of Wisconsin. That's Saturday afternoon at 4 on News Talk 1130 WISN.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules.
Are you tired of being tired? Go to adventknows.com.
Else feel like this week is a trap game for the Packers? Is this just my innate cynicism? Packers play the New York Giants, who are a bad team. They lost their admittedly mediocre quarterback, Daniel Jones, for the season, and their backup just can't stop getting sacked. They still do have one of the best running backs in the league in Saquon Barkley. Their defense is at least passable. Packers play the Giants on Monday Night Football, trying to extend their winning streak to 4 games, including back-to-back wins over division leaders, their own division leader, the Detroit Lions, and then the Kansas City Chiefs with Taylor Swift, Times Person of the Year in attendance. I do think the Packers win this game. And yes, I do believe that they are, in all likelihood, going to be a playoff team. As weird as this sounds, the Packers, I think we owe Gutekunst a bit of an apology here. The Packers just understand, and this is going back 30-plus years, how to find quarterbacks. I mean, Brett Favre, second round, was he a second round pick or a first round pick? Either late first round, early second round by the Atlanta Falcons, languishing on the Falcons bench. And Ron Wolf saw something in him. Flash forward to 2005. General manager Ted Thompson sees Aaron Rodgers tumbling from, remember, Rodgers, a lot of people thought coming out of Cal, he was going to be the number 1 overall pick, and he falls all the way to pick number 24. Packers, even though Brett Favre was still, he was past his prime, but he was still one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL. They snap him up. And when Aaron Rodgers is still playing at a very high level and then goes out and wins back-to-back MVPs following the drafting of Jordan Love, they actually trade up to take Love. Do you know what quarterback they passed on to take Love? Jalen Hurts. Current, I don't know if he's the MVP frontrunner. Do you know who the MVP frontrunner I think is right now? Dak Prescott. I think if the MVP vote was held today, I think Dak Prescott is your MVP. This is one of the years where it's not cut and dried. Pretty much any year you can give it to Patrick Mahomes. I really resent the fact that MVP has just, and Heisman Trophy too, they've just become best quarterback awards. Now the best player, not a quarterback, either gets Offensive Player of the Year or Defensive Player of the Year. You're telling me nobody else can be as valuable? Yes, I know quarterback is likely the most important position, not just in pro football, but in all of professional sports. Maybe goalie in hockey or soccer comes close, but even then you can overcome a weak goalie. It's really difficult to have a bad quarterback take you to the Super Bowl. I mean, you can have a mediocre quarterback, but an outright bad quarterback. Touchdown Tommy DeVito is not leading the New York Giants to the Super Bowl. I haven't checked in lately. Has Shohei Ohtani made his free agent decision yet? We're told it might be today. And the media is very upset that Shohei is requesting absolute secrecy and privacy from the teams that he meets with because he doesn't want this to be a media circus. The guy's going to be the first baseball player and I believe first professional athlete to get a $500 million contract. I think it's stupid money for a guy who's about to turn 30 years old and isn't going to be allowed to pitch, which is where he provides a ton of his value until 2025. But what do I know? Want to get to this story. I came across it on Drudge. What? We have a 5-minute break here. You're kidding me. We have to go to break right now? That means we have to end the show. All right. Producer Greg, I think we might be a little late for the Clay and Buck show. Seriously, I just forgot about a commercial break? All right, well, that's the most bizarre thing of all after we follow up the How Bizarre segment. Hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. We are back Monday morning, 9 a.m. here on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
If you like to grill out when it's 20 below and you insist on calling your lawn Tundra, then you're ripe to be a fan of Green Bay Grapevine. Before and after every game, fearless football reporter Mark Daniels tells Jay Weber's morning listeners the gritty truth about the green and gold. It's a football fix, Wisconsin style.
Green Bay Grapevine is presented by Bob's Glass in Waukesha, specializing in glorious glass shower doors.